Hey guys, how are we doing? So are you conflicted by ambitious goals versus realistic goals? In today's show, we're going to talk about ambitious goals versus realistic goals and look at considerations to have in each of those fine lines. Welcome to the Time Domination Show. I'm your host, James Boardman. And if you are coming through, please do let me know. I think it's really important to know the difference between ambitious goal setting and realistic goal setting. This is something I've really battled with since becoming a business owner. Really knowing the fine line and the difference between setting a goal that is ambitious or maybe a little bit out of my reach or remit and having realistic goals. Now, I've just given 4 examples of each of these. Hopefully we'll be able to get through them during this workshop. So let's get straight into it. So ambitious goals. Okay, ambitious goals come off the back of being driven. Now, there's nothing wrong with being driven. Being passionate, being hungry. But often that can lead to us not being very clear on where we are. So when we're driven, sometimes we can end up feeling that we're further forward than we actually are. And that is something that I have really had to deal with. Sometimes that fire is in the belly and I'm driving and I think probably I'm a little bit further than I am. So when I'm setting those goals and when I'm thinking about where I want it to be over the next week, over the next 3 months, over the next 6 months, I can tend to get carried away with myself. And that's kind of that emotional control, that mental control in terms of what we're saying we want to achieve, all right? That ambitious. Second consideration is outside influences. So looking at other people that are in your niche, other people that you follow, kind of looking at their success. And because you consume their content, because you are in and around them and following them, what that tends to do is have an influence in the way that we think, in the way that we drive ourselves, in the way that we push ourselves in our growth, in our business. So that naturally will have an influence on the goals that you set. So you look at these people, they're driven, they're hungry, they're achieving this, they're achieving that. You naturally, because you're following them, do the same. And again, it can cause confliction. Conflicting conditioning. Now, this is what I'm talking about. Is that we, based on those two, being driven, having outside influences, can be really conflicted about where we are in terms of the level of that we're at in our business, in the level of growth that we're in at our business. And it can be really conflicting with where our mind is thinking that we are. So you could be at, let's say there's 10 levels, just for example, and it's these steps, okay? You could be on like level 1 or 2, but your mind could be on level 7 or 8 or 9, all right? And that's where your brain is like ahead of you, all right? It's thinking, forward thinking. It's almost imagining that you're in the position you want to be in growth, but yet we're still down here. So we're planning for up here, setting those goals, but really we're still down here. And there's that deficit. And that can create a lot of conflict in terms of mentally and emotionally. When we don't reach those targets and those goals, we feel despondent, we feel down, we feel low on confidence. I'm running on impulse. Yeah, I'm going to really smash this. This is how much I'm going to take. This is how I'm going to grow my business. Again, all of this is based around conflicting emotions about where we think we are and where we actually are. So being ambitious is really good, but having controlled ambition is even better. And I think that's where the realistic elements come into play. That's where we have to have the conversation with the devil on one shoulder, and the angel on the other, right? One's telling you to go all in, the other one is holding you back and saying, look at the bigger picture. So in terms of setting goals realistically for how we are, how much time do you actually have to achieve the things that you're writing down? Okay, so we have to look at our environment. So do we have the time and the energy to put into the goals that we set ourselves? So if we're setting ambitious goals and we're trying to set them higher than than the level of condition that we are, do we have that time and that energy to put in to be able to achieve the goals within that time frame? This for me really comes down to asking yourself very honest questions about where you are specifically right now. Having that level of self-awareness to go, right, fuck it, I'm not where I think I am. I have to take a step back and be realistic here. I don't have the time and the energy to be able to earn X amount, to be able to grow by X amount. So I've got to rein it back a bit and I've got to think about the bigger picture. I've got to not put myself under so much pressure. Because as soon as we start planning in this one, you've got to realize that the level of time and energy that you put in trying to chase it could then have knock-on effects in other areas. And if we're not in that right level of conditioning, we're going to burn out. Sustainable structure. Okay, so when we're being realistic, we've got to think about the structure that we have. Think about where we want to be in 3 months. Think about where you want to be in a year, in 2 years. And if you are performing at this level, when we're being ambitious, when we're ahead of our game, okay, is it sustainable to be able to maintain that structure? Again, or are you going to hit the wall hard, grind yourself into the ground, make sacrifices with family time, with your health, to try and reach these? So you have to be realistic about a sustainable structure that you can work to, that you can manage to. Rushing the process. Everybody wants success, right? Everybody here, when you're here, I feel like we're rushing. We're in that mentality. It's good to be ambitious, but remember, controlled ambition with realistic chip in the back of your mind going, okay, am I rushing this process? Am I trying to take step 7 or 8 when I haven't even done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6? This side of our thinking, of our brain, it should be rationalizing actually what's the bigger picture here, what's the mission, where are we heading? Do we need to rush the process? Do I need to achieve everything that all of those goals that I want to achieve in that short amount of time? Okay, so have that conversation with yourself. Am I rushing this? Am I burning myself into the ground? And the last one here is being honest with yourself always. Every time when you set a goal, when you write that goal, you have to be honest with yourself and say, are you going to back yourself up and do that? And that's the realistic part of your mind working. That's the part of your mind. This part of your mind is going to avoid mental burnout. It's going to avoid overwhelm. It's going to avoid overthinking. It's going to improve performance levels. It's going to improve control of time and energy and consistency. This side, if not controlled, is going to create problems. So when it comes to goal setting, and we're thinking of that fine line between ambitious goal setting and realistic goal settings, these are some of the conditions I want you to think about to be the asset of your business. Guys, I really hope that this helps, gives you a little bit of self-awareness, gives you food for thought. If you like this type of stuff and you resonate, please come and join me on my 5-day challenge starting on the 22nd of March. And what we do is we work over 5 days on 5 tasks, and really focusing on becoming the asset of our business. Again, in the evening we do some coaching on these specific challenges and these tasks, and it really just improves the way you operate in your business. And I think it's really important to understand how we operate in our business, because if you want your business to grow, then you have to grow. If you don't grow, then don't expect your business to grow. You can't have one without the other. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch up with you soon. You're welcome, Lisa, anytime.